Good morning. I was about to say Vietnam. Good morning, people, Linux people. I have 234 updates. There's a reason why I'm here and saying this, because as you guys can see, you can't see it from my fat mug here, but Esnik got me so enraged. Well, not really Esnik, but the Peppermint development team got me so enraged that I have to respond to his video. Not really. Basically, I'm just stroking his ego a little bit. We circle jerking. He got a haircut. I need a haircut. We are the same person. I'm just younger. He's older. Or is it the other way around? We don't know. Anyway, this don't bode well for Peppermint. I'm going to be highly critical about Peppermint and its development team. If you can't stand that, don't watch anymore. Go and walk the dog, play with the kids, cuddle the wife or husband or whatever it is that whoever you are married to or are with right now. Because this is a thing that it's a bugbear of mine. And it's when I look at the Peppermint development team and how they are conducting themselves over the last couple of years, it's kind of like my brother figure out how to put wheels on a car and opening up a repair shop. I'm now a full-blown mechanic. I know everything about cars because I know how to put wheels on a car. And it kind of keeps reinforcing that notion when I'm watching videos and the way that they're talking about Peppermint. It's not a good fucking thing for the customer. I should talk more about this, but the reason why I'm really, really critical about Linux in a lot of instances is because of the end user. I get Linux is for technical people. I get that Linux or some Linux distributions are more for a different kind of people than, let's say, your mom and pop. But I look at any potential or current Linux user as I look at a customer of Samsung, a customer of Logitech, a customer of a t-shirt. They get it for free, they can download it, they use it, but they are your customer, they are your users. And I'm a customer advocate. I honestly like that, or a spokesperson of that, when people are using a product, be it free or whatever the fuck it is, you don't mislead them, you don't jerk them around, you don't try to sell them something it's not. I don't care if it's free, open source, proprietary, paid. If your mom is trying to sell you a slipper and it's really just a wheel from a tractor, I don't give a flying pig in hell about it. All I care about is that you are not being taken advantage of as a user, you are not being misleaded as a user, and they're not jerking you around. Watching this video, there will be a link down below. Esnik kind of confirms a little bit about my suspicions about the Linux Mint current development team, that they need to do something about their wording. And I will put this out there. Okay, I have almost close to fucking 30 years experience with Linux right now. I'm open for debate. I'm open for to talk to them. I'm open for a private conversation about why I think this is a little bit of a dangerous road to go down. So if anyone in development team with Linux Mint wants to reach out, because I've been highly critical about the new development team with Linux Mint, please do so. I am willing to do it, and I'm willing to make a video talking about that. This is what they're going for, and this is what they really mean, because I also think there may be a little bit of barrier, language barrier here, because I think they are from Asia, most of them, or some of them. And I think that's where some of the confusion can be also. Again, if they want me to talk to them about it, not because I know more than the average person, but I think a lot of the I get what they're trying to say, okay? I get what the Linux Mint development team is trying to do. They're just going about it the fucking wrong way, okay? And like I said, I'm a consumer first. I don't care about the fucking development team. I don't care about it being open source. If you're trying to sell something that is not. Linux Mint is not a rolling release, okay? Let's get into it here. Esnik is talking about it a little bit here, and I'm going to be a little bit more jabby and stuff like that. And he's going into he asked the forum, and they're talking about this continuous delivering system and stuff like that. Here's the gist of it. Let's go. I don't know. I think I can't go on to paint on this one here because I haven't updated yet. Oh, it's really, really easy to see if a distribution is a rolling release or not. It all has to do with the repositories. And I'm not talking about your own personal repositories like a PPA or stuff like that. I'm talking about the core repository. So the kernel, the vast majority of software. And I will go into it a little bit later on here. Because if you see these beautiful drawn boxes here, I will color code them for you a little bit here. So I will do a black and I will do a yellow one. Okay, this is a static release. This is a rolling release. These boxes here are the repositories. Basically what rolling release means, people, it's really, really simple. This stays the same. You don't jump from Gravy Train to Gravy Train is the release name of their current release, and then you go over to Apple Pie. That's their next release. You know, you jump repositories. With static releases, you use this repository here. You use this repository here until a new release comes along. And again, I'm really simplifying it here. Then you make a new release with a lot of static packages. So the kernel version may be the same, or you may have 2 or 3 kernel versions in there. The desktop environment version stick the same. You know, the GCC version sticks the same, and blah blah blah. Sometimes, like Ubuntu, they update the user hardware like Firefox and stuff like that, but the core system stays the same. You know, when you're running Ubuntu 20.04, you're running the same kernel until 20.10. Or in this case, when 22.04 comes out, you're running the same kernel, the same desktop environment version, and blah 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 until 22.10. So you're basically jumping over to a new repository that then become your new source, you know, your new release delivery method. So that means that you are on a static release, a leap, OpenSUSE leap, you know, you're jumping. You're going over to a new repository. Arch, Tumbleweed that we're on right now. Oh shit, that's not what I want. They basically stay within the same repository. You don't have to change the repositories. You don't have to change the software servers. They just update the software in their kernel, you know, desktop environment and stuff like that. There are distributions like, let's say, Elementary OS that do this here. Then they have a separate repo down here. Let's make that... Let's make it proud. Or I think this... let's make it really, really proud. There you go. This is the desktop environment. This is Pantheon. So they are continuing updating the desktop environment, but the core libraries like the kernel, the GCC, Mesa libraries, all of these things is still static. So you could debate that it's a semi-rolling release. That's kind of where Fedora is going into. Fedora used the term aggressive updates or semi-rolling release. So you can still have components that are rolling to some extent on a static release. But for it to be a 100% rolling release, everything has to be done from the same repository. That's the easiest way of thinking about this. Do I need to change the repository between releases? If I have to do that, it's not a rolling release. I can have rolling aspect. I can make the kernel rolling. I can make the wallpapers rolling, you know. But then again, let's say Peppermint is in this current version. If that's a rolling release, they don't have to distribution upgrade to get the latest and greatest. They just have to update. I hope this makes a little bit sense, because when you're doing a distribution update in Debian, you are jumping repositories. Oh, I don't want that nasty poop color anymore. You're jumping repositories. You're jumping from Debian Scratch to Edge, or what the fuck, I can't remember. Bullseye, I think, is the current one. You're jumping repository. A really, 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 really... Oh shit, that's not what I want. Good way is that I can go in here and I can show you guys it in Yast. Oh, it helps if I actually have enabled my numlock. So we go in here to software repositories, and we are going to let Yast do its thing here. I don't have to change anything here. The distribution when I'm updating don't change the source software list at all. Everything here, the servers that the package manager is looking at is the same now and 10 years out in the future. It's just called Tumbleweed. I just stick with that repository. I'm looking at the same server address from now till I decide to nuke Tumbleweed. I don't, the system don't go in like once a year, every 6 months and say, oh, now we're going from Tumbleweed 1 to Tumbleweed 2 and so on and so on. It's the same repository I'm looking at from now on and forever. That's a rolling release, people. Continuous delivering system, or all of that shit, it's just terms that they are trying to... It's snake oil, okay? They are stroking your, you know what, and blowing hot air up your butt and making you feel good and giving you a fucking bubble bath and lying to you, basically. Continuous delivering system. No, and yeah, okay. I run Ubuntu. I don't have to reinstall Ubuntu every time I update. But Ubuntu jumps fucking repositories. And here's the thing, if you as a development team can't grasp those simple terms, okay? I debate if you should even make a fucking system at all. This is the basic. I can teach this to a fucking 5th grader. And they will understand it. They can understand that this, the yellow boxy here, is basically what I'm running right now under Tumbleweed. And this over here is how Ubuntu works. Oh yeah, we're getting the next release is 2204. I have to do a massive upgrade. Basically upgrade the core libraries and move my repository over there to get the new version of Ubuntu. Even though Firefox will still get updated on 21.10, I think is the latest one is. Up till a certain point. That's the same with Debian. Is it Bookworm? I think it's Bookworm, the latest one is. I can't fucking remember it right now. If it's a rolling release, I should be able to stay on Bookworm from now on until the day my penis gets so old it falls off. And I will still get the latest and greatest software. Not only from their own repository, but the kernel, the GCC, KDE, everything that's bundled in with that software. Or else it's just a static release with a rolling desktop environment, or a semi-rolling desktop environment, or whatever you will call it. Anything based on Debian stable by nature cannot be a rolling release. It really can't. You can have a static release with a really, really stable upgrade method. And as a consumer, and this is where I have my problem, as a consumer, okay, it looks like you're having a rolling release because you don't see what's going on in the backend. But for us smart nerds here, we know what the fuck is going on. And it's misleading unknowledgeable people. You're taking advantages of people not having the knowledge that you have and trying to basically sell them Tumbleweed when they are running, let's say, Debian. They are like, oh, when do you guys, Peppermint people, when do you get it giving me kernel 5.17 or 16? When is that kernel coming into your repository? When am I getting KDE 5. Whatever, KDE 6 if that comes out before the new Debian release? Or when are, hey Peppermint people, when are TCC 12 coming into Debian? They're like, yeah, we have to wait for Debian, whatever, go over to Debian testing. But hey, wait, friends, wait. Didn't you say you were rolling release? I don't have to backport anything in then. I don't have to set up my own repository or find a repository that gives me a rolling release schedule of the kernel or release cycle of the kernel. Because you're rolling release, everything would be rolling, okay? I really fucking hate this, and the sad reality is that a lot of Linux distribution makers are doing this nowadays. We can run Windows software and then they show you fucking Photoshop from 2009 in running in Wine, and they're making it look like current Photoshop by fancy fucking screenshots and what have you not. And then average consumers like, oh my god, I can run the current version of Photoshop because they said here I can run Photoshop on Sorian or whatever the fuck it is, and they nuke all their Windows system, run Sorian, and oh my god, I'm running an outdated, unsecure version of Photoshop because it was not 100% honest. Yes, it is Photoshop, but it's not current, stable, updated version of Photoshop. They are misleading you. I don't like people misleading other people. Okay? I don't like smart people take advantages of not smart people. I put that in quote because I debate if they're actually smart by saying this. One thing I hate more than fucking people taking advantages of other people is fanboyism, okay? Fanboys is the worst thing for a product that can exist because they can't be critical. Peppermint is not Peppermint anymore. Peppermint is not a rolling release. The nature that it's based on Debian stable inherently can never make it a rolling release. You have to get out of the Debian repositories to do that. You could debate that if you're running Debian testing, you can make it a kind of rolling, semi-rolling release. If you're running Debian sit, you are definitely running a rolling release, okay? If you're a distribution maker, and this is my gripe with how easy it is to respin Linux nowadays. If you as a distribution maker cannot grasp these simple things about the delivering methods of software, I highly doubt your credentials and technical knowledge to maintain and build a stable, reliable, great rolling release and ecosystem around it. Okay? Call it continuous delivering method and stuff like fuck. Call it what it is, okay? You are delivering, as Esling is saying in this video here, stroking him a little bit here. You are delivering a rolling method for your icons and wallpapers on top of a static release. That's not a rolling release. It's not continuous delivering method. That's marketing terms people use to mislead and misguide and misinform other people. Okay? That's a massive, big fucking red flag. If you're trying to reword something to make it look like something it's not, you are cheating, misleading, not being honest about what you're selling, what you're providing, and what you're giving. Does this mean anything for the end user? It can be, but they probably will not noticing it. Non-technical users will not noticing it. Just like non-technical users, they get an update for Ubuntu 22.04 here in a couple of months or in a month or so, and they will just update it. They don't grasp the knowledge that it's a static release updating. If they do that or running Arch for them, they don't really notice the difference other than Arch is getting more updates every day or all the time. And Ubuntu gets small updates and one big update every 6 months. They just think it's the way that they're delivering it. But just because they don't understand it, don't mean that you have to fucking lie to their face, okay? I have a massive problem with that. Don't mislead people. Don't become the new Sorian, okay? Don't become the new Linux Lite. Don't try to sell something it's not. Here's what Peppermint is. This brand is long, way too long as it is. It's a static release with rolling software components to it. The best way to describe this is it's basically just how Ubuntu is doing it. Has Ubuntu ever sold itself as a rolling release? No. Has Pop! OS sold itself as a rolling release? They aggressively update the kernel? No. Stop treating your customers like idiots. Stop treating your users like idiots. Stop misleading non-technical users and try to shoehorn a project into something it's not. If you want a rolling release, Peppermint people, I honestly believe, give Esling $100 and let him respin Peppermint into Arch for you. Give you the documentation how you can maintain it. He can do that in a day, okay? Migrate Peppermint over to a full-blown rolling release like Arch. Manjaro. Hey, I will even help you guys do it under OpenSUSE if you want. If you really want a rolling release, be a rolling release. Reach out to people. How can we migrate this over here? Don't try to make Peppermint or rebrand Peppermint into something it's not. Peppermint is not Peppermint. I'm sorry to say, this is not Peppermint. The way that they are conducting themselves, the way they are running this project has never been the how Peppermint has been done, or the philosophy or anything like that. They are basically hijacking a well-known name to deliver their own system. This should have been Spearmint or I don't know, Eagle Mint or what the fuck is a spiritual successor to Peppermint. This is not Peppermint, people. The fact they're using the Peppermint name and they are trying to mislead to some extent the people, this is not Peppermint. This is a newbie development team to be friendly and be nice. At worst, it's an unknowledgeable development team trying to do something that they apparently don't have no idea about what they're doing. Like, I get the feeling that they have no fucking idea what they're doing. That's a bad feeling to get, okay? I'm not saying this to be antagonistic or anything like that. Like I said, reach out. I will gladly help you guys out. But please don't fucking circle jerk your customers and your users, okay? Don't try to sell them a fucking gold brick that's just a fucking big pile of shit, okay? Don't try to tell me that this pick is the new fucking Cameron Electra just because you put a dress and lipstick on it. This is anti-consumerism, okay? Yes, it's free, it's open source, I can fork it if I want to and make a better version. But the fact that you're trying to sell something that is not, even if it's free, you are selling something, you're giving something away, is anti-consumer practices. This is no different than what is going on with Mac OS, Microsoft and shit like that they are misleading people. Forcing them into a system that they don't want, like with CPM and what have you not. Be honest. Don't try to sell this as the new art. Be fucking honest. Don't circle jerk and mislead your user base. They will wake up. They will watch videos like mine, SNX and stuff like that. They will wake up. They will be knowledgeable users and you will lose your user base. This is counterproductive for you. It works now. It will not work in the long run. If you're circle jerking, misleading your customers or users, and there are people telling them that they are being misled and used and lied to, they will stop using it. They will talk to other people about it and take away the user base. Not a good fucking practice to do here, okay? This is really fucking bad. The website needs to be reworded. The release cycle of wording of Peppermint needs to be reworded. Heck, it should not even be called fucking Peppermint. Honestly. This should not have been called Peppermint. It's so far from what Peppermint was that, rest in peace, my good old friend that I don't know, but you did something great for the community. It's a fucking disgrace to his name, okay? Honestly, it really is. You are not honoring him right now, and especially by misleading your user base. It's not a good fucking deal. I will see you all later. Bye-bye.